400 investors turned down his idea of an internet-connected fitness bike. Now, John Foley is a billionaire, and those investors are kicking themselves. In just 7 short years, off the back of a successful Kickstarter campaign, Foley took his cycling experiment and turned it into a multi-billion-dollar enterprise. As a keen biker himself, Foley successfully raised over $300,000 to get his exercise startup off the ground. But it wasn't a case of overnight success. The bumps were hard and plentiful, until one particular catalyst propelled the company to superstardom. Let's take a look at the incredible journey of Peleton and how its talented founder made and spent his billions. Before we jump into the exponential company growth, and as a direct result, the rapid fattening of John Foley's wallet, let's get a better idea of how Peleton operates. What's its purpose? Besides the astronomical price, what makes it different to any other at-home exercise bike that would usually sit forgotten in the garage, slowly collecting dust? Looking at the product itself, the Peleton bike is built of carbon steel and aluminum, offering a weighted flywheel in the front that controls the bike's resistance level. It's sleek, but not spectacular. The physical build of the bike isn't too dissimilar from many exercise bikes already on the market. What has proven to be the differentiator, the feature that transformed the Peleton from a run-of-the-mill exercise fad to a nationwide phenomenon, is the digital interactivity. On the original build, between the handlebars, you'll find a 22-inch touchscreen which runs a custom Android-based Peleton operating system. This screen is any Peleton user's ticket to an exclusive online community, one which boasts 14 live spin classes a day or an abundance of on-demand rides varying in length and intensity. All of the video content is streamed in high definition, with the instructor positioned in the center of the frame shouting motivational words at you as music blares in the background. Peleton has taken a usually isolating activity at home and made it social. By tuning into the Peleton system, you can virtually ride with friends whether they're next door or in another continent. Clearly, the bike itself isn't revolutionary, but the technology is. Peleton has emerged as a frontrunner for combining cycling with digital interconnectivity. They've also made solo workouts competitive. Riders can compare their efforts, top speed, heart rate, distance traveled, and so forth with other people taking the live class. Or, for on-demand classes, there's a leaderboard based on results of past participants. It gives time-sensitive people, those with busy schedules, or perhaps those without access to a gym, the opportunity to experience classes and competition. As told by John Foley himself, the target demographic of the brand is individuals who do not have, quote, time to go to the gym. In a broader landscape where people are becoming simultaneously busier and more health conscious, Peleton has stepped in to capitalize on the opportunity. Interactive boutique-style workouts, like the celebrity-adored SoulCycle spin classes, for example, are now accessible to anyone. Well, anyone who can afford it. The bike itself is a whopping $2,245, which includes mandatory delivery and setup. Rarely, if ever, does it go on sale. Occasionally, Peleton will offer complimentary shoes or accessory packages, but that's about as good a promotion as you'll get. Throw on another $39 per month for the exercise video subscription, and you could easily buy a semi-decent home gym setup instead. There's always been a lot of money circulating through the fitness industry, though over the past decade, the home fitness sector in particular has welcomed substantial growth. A recent study surveyed 1,350 American adults aged 18 to 65 and found that the average person spends an astounding $155 per month on health and fitness, equating to $112,000 over their entire lifetime. That's substantially more than a 4-year college degree. It's a staggering figure, and one which made John Foley eager to take a slice of the pie. What's more remarkable is that Americans spend a staggering $1.8 billion every year on gym memberships that they don't even use. That's 6.3% of Americans that have a membership that does nothing but collect dust. Aiming to combat this, we've seen a sharp rise in boutique fitness companies, Peleton included, who aim to seize the attention of the market and make money from people who ordinarily would be too busy, lazy, or demotivated to go to the gym. It's far easier to walk to the living room and jump on a Peleton than drive to the gym, find parking, get changed, check in for a class, and drive home all sweaty. Now that we know about how Peleton operates and the dramatic amount of money in the industry, let's circle back to Peleton's rise to the top. In the company's infancy, John Foley's vision was clear. He wanted to bring the trendy indoor cycling classes, those that were thriving in places like New York, straight into people's homes. Instead of us wasting nearly $2 billion on unused gym memberships, John wanted us to buy Pelotons. But it wasn't a smooth ride to the top. John Foley had approached 400 investors and was turned down time and time again. For what reason? First off, Peloton had no market data to show because they, in essence, created a new category. According to John, the big player, Silicon Valley investors, also had a significant blind spot for his vision. Silicon Valley, immersed in their own world, didn't see what was happening out in New York City, where the boutique fitness movement was gaining speed. As Foley admitted when he pitched Peloton over and over again, Silicon Valley investors would say, "There's two types of biking out here, John. Mountain biking and road biking." Other investors also showed concern regarding Peloton's price. Just because a bike had Wi-Fi, did it deserve an enormously inflated purchase value? Without market data, it was a difficult question to answer. So, moving away from institutional investors, Foley took the first major step in what would become a long, bumpy, and eventually wildly successful journey. He posted this video to Kickstarter in 2013. Not afraid to showcase his high hopes, in the Kickstarter campaign, Foley even compared Peloton to Apple, declaring that it was creating both the hardware and the software to deliver a superior product. It turned out to be an exceptional crowdfunding campaign, which in the end raised $307,332. As a graduate of Harvard Business School, John had the education to put him in good stead to launch a successful business. But education isn't everything, which is why his time working in a professional capacity proved invaluable to the eventual move to Peloton. As a previous executive at Mars Inc., the confectionery brand, and almost 3 years spent hammering away in Barnes & Noble's e-commerce division, John Foley was, and still is, a very business-minded and sales-driven person. Let's rewind for a moment. Where did the idea come from in the first place? To start a digital biking community, you'd expect John to be an avid cyclist himself, and he is. Foley and his wife, who runs the apparel side of the business, both loved boutique fitness classes, but John struggled to actually make it 2 classes. With 2 kids, the schedule was regularly jam-packed. The spin classes taught by John and Jill's favorite instructors weren't available at the most convenient times for them, and John didn't want to book in advance in case something else came up. So, while in his mid-40s, John had that light bulb moment. Build a stationary bike that offered spin classes at home, on demand. The company's initial growth was a roller coaster, to say the least. In the early days, financial problems were so severe that Foley cleaned the Peloton office's bathrooms himself. He simply couldn't afford to pay for both engineers and office staff. The first studio was in the back of an office where the staff hung black curtains and propped up the instructor bike with bricks. Fast forward to today, and there's now a large production team and several cameras in each of its studios where cycling, running, strength, and yoga are filmed and broadcasted. But one important question has remained throughout its 7+ year journey. Can Peloton compete with lower cost, more accessible forms of exercise classes? The market for streaming cycling and bike training apps has exploded in the past 3 years, with names like Zwift, Sufferfest, Trainer Road, and even YouTube channels like Fitness Blender, each taking their market share. Still, Peloton claims that its 1-year user retention rate is 96%, and that customers complete 9 to 10 workouts per month on average. So long as those numbers remain high, it's a clear frontrunner, and the numbers agree. Peloton's revenues grew 99% in the year ending June 2018 and rose 110% to $915 million in 2019. The future looks bright. But in November 2019, when the company released a new holiday commercial called The Gift That Gives Back, they drew a truckload of criticism, and the share price tanked as a result. If you haven't seen it, here's the gist. A wife receives a Peloton bike for Christmas from her husband and begins recording a video diary of herself using it for a year. After circulating the media, plenty of upset viewers suggested that the commercial was sexist and out of touch, as it implied that the woman's husband wasn't happy with her body. That's far from the only point of controversy. Just 8 months earlier, in March 2019, Peloton was sued for $300 million by the National Music Publishers Association for using copyrighted tunes in their videos without proper licenses. Throw in another $50 million in paid royalties for other music, and the costs continue to build. Despite the setbacks, the company's sales have absolutely rocketed in 2020, following its 2019 IPO, during which it raised $1.16 billion. While the pandemic has shut down thousands of businesses in traditional industries, on the flip side, it's ignited a surge in a number of new domains, online shopping being one and home workout equipment being the other. And who's benefited from extended lockdowns and the need to exercise from home? Peloton, of course. Since March of 2020, Peloton shares have soared about 350%, of which John Foley owns about 8%. The number of paying subscribers has grown to 1.09 million, up from 712,000 at the beginning of the year. As the fitness craze has continued to boom nationwide, particularly in places like New York, Peloton's sales numbers have increased evidently. However, the company is yet to actually make a profit. John Foley said that he expects to see a profit by 2023, with Peloton's current approach prioritizing growth over profitability. In the short term, John wants to expand the company to Europe and grow its treadmill business. Just because the company is not profitable, it doesn't mean that its CEO isn't absolutely loaded. Thanks to his shares, Foley is now worth about $1.3 billion, and as the company's stock continues to surge, John's bank balance only grows. Just 1 year earlier, he was only worth about $450 million. That's one rapid rise to fortune. What does he do with his money? Reinvest into the business for starters, and provide family. But John also went out and bought this 3,000 square foot duplex, Penthouse D, at 377 West 11th Street in Manhattan for a cool $3.36 million. Despite the extravagant purchase, he managed to flip it and soon put it back on the market for more than twice as much, $7.5 million. Where do you stand on the Peloton debate? Is it worth spending over $2,000 for a Wi-Fi connected exercise bike? Or would you rather splash your cash on something else? Let us know in the comments down below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to The Richest, and have a great day. Catch you next time.